into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
All right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV after show for Downton Abbey series season 5. This is episode 9, the finale episode, the Christmas special. Happy Christmas to you, ladies.
Happy Christmas.
There you go. I'm John Comerford. Joining me in the studio is Courtney Stewart.
What's up, everybody?
And Tamara Bird.
Hey, everybody. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year.
Well, this is what you want in a Christmas episode from Downton Abbey. It was gorgeous. They had me laughing. They had me crying. It was full. It had so many storylines. And first of all, your overall impressions, ladies?
Well, I was about 15 minutes into the show, and you know, just sort of enjoying it. And I always watch it twice before we come up, and so the first one I watch is always just sort of, you know, to enjoy it and to you know, watch it as others would, and then I do it for work. And the first time I watched it, about 15 minutes in, and I tweeted this. I said, you know, gosh, this is why I love this show. Yeah. You know, I remember why, because I've had some frustrations this season, and I love that every year the Christmas special, they don't disappoint, except for when Matthew was killed.
But even though that happened, that was a great episode.
It was a great episode, and Julian Fellows never ceases to impress me at the Christmas special, and I love that.
Yeah, he pulls out all the stops. I mean, it looked gorgeous. I just wanted to start by talking about the beautiful shots.
Courtney, what was your?
It was just overall, just echoing exactly what you said. Like, I left with that.
Exactly.
Like, for all the complaints we have, oh, they weren't moving it along fast enough this season, and this wasn't happening right, and this person was annoying, In the end, I still am like, I love you so much.
And I will come back next season. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know,
I'll wait another whole year.
I will.
Yeah, and I was flooring the train shots coming through the countryside, and even in the train. I mean, we visited Brancaster Castle. We'd never been there, so it's a whole new area, covered completely well. So many wonderful shots of that place and the countryside.
I love the one where they had the castle in the background and the cars going across the little motorway. You know,
all that green and then the gray and the fog. We were out hunting and the dog. It was
so much for that, and even
impeccable.
When we weren't at Brancaster Castle, because you remember, I was pointing out every time you saw the Dowager and Isabel walking through a graveyard. And here we had them in the garden.
They were in gardens every time.
Gorgeous, too.
I bet Julian Fellows heard us talking about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
I'm sure that's what happened.
So,
the shot with the ruins,
castle. The ruins of the castle, and then they had the lunch there and stuff like that. Because
at one moment when we were walking through the ruins, I was like, come on, why are we...
in ruins.
We people would not see the... And then they ended up at the outdoor picnic area, so it made sense.
Oh, that's right.
That's why that's happening.
And even when we came back for Christmas 1924, and we were back at Downton, and I mean, just the shot of everything in the snow, and then you go downstairs into the kitchen, you got the bacon wrapped turkey.
Bacon wrapped turkey? I'm in!
Yeah, everything looks so lush, and...
Their Christmas tree was even just like, oh my God, it was sumptuous. Yeah. And the kids.
And Highclere Castle, where Downton is shot, tweeted a bunch of pictures of their Christmas tree as well, which was, I don't know if it was the exact tree or it was the similar tree. So pretty. Also, the dinner shots at Brancaster Castle. Those, you know, that there was that one great shot where, you know, when we get into the story, we'll get there, but you know, you're sort of looking over one of the guests' shoulders, and then the jib comes up, and you see the whole room, and you see the length of the table and the wall coverings.
And really heightened when we went from the dinner that Carson and Hughes and Daisy, and he was a little bit put off that Daisy was going to eat with them. And you had the downstairs, and very modest, and then you cut right to the big splendor.
Lush.
So that was nice. Like, whoa, yeah, that's good. Good
editing. They did good work.
Done.
Good work.
Yeah. Okay. So I was overwhelmed and loved all the shots of that, and the shot selection as well.
Again, God bless Julian Fellows because he brought us all back.
Absolutely.
As much as we were critics.
and you got to enjoy it for the visual aspects of it. Now let's get into the storylines of
Okay.
it.
Do we have any storylines?
Just a few storylines to cover.
Good gracious.
Well, I want to start off with the whole Brancaster Cinderby thing because, obviously Cinderby has decided that this is where he's going to, I guess, make his, I don't know, because when they had gone to London, I guess it was, he was talking about he was going to have them. Yeah, exactly.
For the season.
And wants to make his mark or something. And I'm going, okay, whatever. And then it's here, and so and he's the man of the house and brings his own butler, which apparently is a big no-no.
It's not.
So which causes all kinds of trouble.
Interesting though, just a little thing about we're at Brancaster Castle, which is the owner is renting out. So it's another one of those reflections of how the times are changing.
Which could have happened to Downton if all kinds of things didn't occur or didn't go right.
Exactly.
But this is what could have happened to them to some degree. And so and may still be
in
we don't know. So that's what could a foretelling maybe foreshadowing
perhaps.
So okay, but still was lots of fun to be there. But let's get into Lord Cinderby and his consternation and upset about not everybody bothering him about inviting Shrimpy and Susan.
I don't want those people here, sort of, right?
And really, and even when he's out there going to the shooting range or
with Mary
and her trying to get him to change his mind about that, and him standing fast and saying no, and really putting himself on his high horse just to get knocked down nicely.
And of all people who can talk to you from a high horse, it's Mary. Right?
Yes, she does a very good job of it.
I love that she was incredibly diplomatic in how she was saying to him, for God's sake, set it aside,
Yeah.
And boy, he wouldn't have it. He literally walked away.
Just ignored her.
And I thought it was also the irony of having a butler who is highfalutin as well and being a pain in your side because of it. So I'm going, well, there you go. There's a little karma in play.
It works well in that family, apparently.
So I want to talk about those two storylines together just because they kind of coincide. So his brother, Stoll, has decided that he's going to snub Thomas. I'm sorry. Let's go Tom Branson first.
Tom Branson.
And then Barrow, of course, and and insult him as well.
Great scene though when they're downstairs. Stoll and Branson, not Branson. Stoll and Thomas are downstairs, and Thomas is like trying to keep that stiff upper lip, and he's just, oh good God, you have really done your homework before we got here, right?
He's just introducing himself, and the guys,
very funny though.
It was very and right then you knew you could look the look on Barrow's face. Okay, something's not going to go right, and Barrow's going to be behind it.
Yeah,
and he knows everything.
And also, I love that when Mary found out about all this, she knows that Cinderby is and Stoll's not well liked downstairs and all that other stuff. She knows exactly what to. Can't Barrow do something about this?
Exactly. Like he's the one. We know that
they know the go-to person.
He's our go-to guy.
He's our go-to guy.
Exactly.
But he endeared us back. Well, he endeared me back to him again.
Yes,
it's always that up and down.
And they did much more of putting him as the hero in this particular episode.
Right.
That particular thing.
One of our Twitter fans pointed out that he was such a great champion of Sybil, rather, when when things were going on with her, and so he was ready to kind of get back in our good favor in this episode.
But here, I thought it was the whole thing going on because there was a great dynamic because of what was happening with Anne and Bates. Bates is not going to be there,
right?
So he has to step up and be the valet to Lord Grantham. And as soon as he's assuming that position, he's going, "No, you're going to be a footman
also."
You're going to be, and he's just going, "What?
What are you talking about?"
So that sets everything in motion. Then of course Mary says to Baxter's, "And there's something we could do. Get Barrow on it." And Barrow comes up.
I know, just the guy.
Very quickly, exactly.
And he got all up on it.
He did.
Right.
So it was great. So it's just a little note to saying to the chef, "Hey, don't give Cinderby any meat or whatever.
Give him something plain."
Yes, exactly. But the dressing down, right in front of everybody, and for me, I was so shocked by that. I didn't expect Cinderby to go that crazy.
He went nuts.
I think it partly goes to what Stowell was saying, which was his lordship, his title is about 10 minutes old.
Exactly.
So he doesn't maybe know how to conduct himself.
New money.
Or he's I think he's a hothead. I think he's a self-righteous hothead.
Well, Atticus even said that he can't handle it when things are out of order and stuff like that. But I was just shocked by
and
how
Rose
much
said he was a control freak too.
I was just shocked by the dressing down.
So rude.
Yeah,
so nasty.
And not only to Stoll, but then he calls Barrow a stupid fool.
Don't do
everybody.
that.
Exactly. It's so out of character for those dinner parties to get that bold and that harsh.
And I loved how everybody tried to make. Oh, so.
Anyway, do you want to see the grounds?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're fantastic.
So that part was just lots of fun, and even afterwards, Lord Grantham talks about how unpleasant it was.
Yes,
and everything,
very unpleasant.
It was. And I was still going, well, why would you do it in front of everybody? I still don't get that part of it, but it made great TV. I love that part.
Yeah, it did. Let's just forgive it for that reason.
And because of it, it heightened the whole storyline. So congratulations for carrying that farther. Because now Barrow is like, no, I'm not just going to take Stoll down a couple pegs.
Oh,
I'm after Lord Cinderby now. And again, nicely done. Ingratiating himself to Stoll, saying, "Oh, that was terrible what he said." Hey, he called me a fool. So we're. Two peas in a pod here.
Well, and Stoll's quote was, "I know all about his dirty-fingered lordship."
Yes. Ooh.
Well,
dirty fingers.
And Thomas wanting to be surprised by him, so go ahead and tell me. Over a drink, and the guy's drinking too much. Nice.
Yeah, here, let me pour you a little more, which is what I've been doing today.
Yes, we are drinking in honor of the Christmas special. Again,
some of my glögg.
Spiked wine.
Yeah.
So here we go. That's
delicious.
Thank you. So, were you at all surprised that the way it went down and how Thomas orchestrated this whole thing?
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, when she walked in, did anybody?
Well, when the feet stepped out of the car, I was like, oh no, he does not have a woman. I was not expecting that when the car pulled up. I was like, really? And when you saw it as a kid, I was like, you're kidding. It's a joke. No way.
That's
but
awesome.
Really? Where did that even come from?
Yeah, and I can only imagine, this is Diana Clark, of course, we're talking about, but can you imagine she's getting this letter, yes, come, bring the child, and she's going, I get to go to the whole big,
I get to go to the big house.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
That's terrible.
And then the way she walked in, and everybody just, the look.
Yeah, it was like, what? Do you remember that? Maybe
everything screeches to a halt.
Like, who is that?
Yeah. And Rachel being so on it, like, oh, well, who's going, and she's.
But
Rose even more so.
She was the one. Tell me who that is. Tell me her name. And I will say to you, tell me her name. Tell me. And she was ready to go.
Amazing.
Rachel, how are you?
I'm saying, where did that come from? Nice. Because she's been in trouble so many times.
Exactly.
She knows how to get out of it.
Practiced.
Yeah.
That was smooth.
Yeah, it was very smooth.
His heart attack in the corner was not.
Yeah,
not so smooth.
Just very
You're
tired.
so right.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Not smooth at all.
Okay, but one of the moments in that scene that I loved so much is Rose is over talking to Diana, going, Diana, my good friend, I haven't seen you in a while. And then over comes Mary going, hello, Diana, we haven't seen you in so long. Lord Grantham, yes, we haven't seen you since we seen you at Downton.
And Rachel leaves, and then it's like, what is... And then, the look of Lord Grantham going... Oh, Diana says, I wish he could come over. and speaking about Cinderby.
And Lord Grantham's like,
he goes, who?
And Mary...
Now look on Mary's face. Yeah, it's like, Dad!
Seriously?
Got a clue.
It's almost the same expression.
Priceless.
Yeah,
priceless.
that was priceless. And even when he understood it, it took him, the extra 5 seconds to figure it out. Crikey.
Crikey!
Oh, God, that was precious. That was perfect.
Hilarious.
It was fantastic.
It was very good.
Oh, crikey!
Yeah, and then it all comes clear. And the look. The acting was amazing. The way Lord Cinderby looked when he was gutted there and just completely humiliated and
and couldn't get it back together.
Yeah,
he didn't even try to get it back together.
And Rachel's like almost oblivious. Oh, okay.
Really, Daniel?
Yeah.
You know that's Lord Cinderby's name. Mm-hmm. What a coinky-dink!
And I'm going. She probably knows. I'm guessing that when she thinks about it, she is a smart one. But what is she going to do at that moment? It would have been ugly for everybody. So, but that she probably knows at some point. I'm guessing will come back. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
I hope.
If we spend any time with them, I'm guessing that will come out.
I hope.
But anyway, what I also liked was afterwards.
Because of what I'll talk about in predictions. We have a long
okay, right, all right. We do have a long time. Okay. So, Mary's talking to Rose, and she's saying, how did Stoll know? And then Rose confronts...
Puts it together.
Oh, she confronts Stoll the whole thing, and then to twist it around even more, to just get him even more. I'd like you to be, while I'm deciding whether or not to tell Lord Cinderby, I want you to be more polite to Tom, so that cures that whole thing.
Which is what we were going for in the first place.
And the look on Mary is like, wow, Rose, nicely done.
We like it.
Yeah, because I think the way that she orchestrated that whole end result there
handled
was,
it.
and you got to see the kind of the maturing of Rose as well.
She Olivia Pope that situation.
She did. Yes, she did.
Those of you who don't know Scandal's lead character,
look at
there you go. Thank you very much.
out.
Yeah, and we really got to, she's no longer the one who's getting in trouble. She's the one, fixing everything, and I thought that was really nice. And by the way, then when Lord Cinderby says the whole thing about how much he appreciates her and she's clever and kind and generous and all that other stuff.
Oh God, I loved that.
That was a great scene, but it was also a weird scene for me because he comes out there saying, Lord Cinderby says to Lord Grantham, Mary, and Rose, let's keep it in here, and stuff like that, because I know you don't want to cause any more pain to Atticus or to Rachel, and I'm going, no, you just want everybody's silence.
Yeah, shady.
So you don't have to face up.
And everybody, of course,
to the depths of your humiliation, as you call it.
Exactly, and everybody's so willing to go, yeah, okay, we won't say anything.
We don't want confrontation.
I guess that's what you would do, but it was a little weird because you have no allegiance to Rachel. Or is it, you don't want to, is it one of those things where you don't want to be shot because you're the messenger of bad news?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or is it none of your business? Or,
I think the none of your business part is more of it.
It's sort of how all those aristocrats handled things. But, the moment he said, Rose, my dear, you are kind, clever, and resourceful. We are lucky to have you. And, oh, by the way, your parents are welcome at our house.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is, it's kind of a backhanded compliment because, it took me this for you to see that?
Exactly.
I'm still the same person. The only thing that's changed is I know who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, is the thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's screwed up, babe. Don't worry. I get that. Yeah. And then Lord Grantham standing up for her again, and she will love you forever if you'll let her.
That's who she is.
He's like, no, I know that.
Lord Grantham really redeemed himself this episode.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity to just be, right? The kind and loving father, husband, patriarch. Father-in-law, he really had the opportunity to all of those things and be the head of the family in this episode, and I loved that.
Stubborn and dumb, like he's
right, because he has been this whole series. He's been a bit silly.
Yes.
Oh, and he got his silly in, which we'll get to eventually.
Well, that little bit of silly there.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen to Stoll? We don't know, but that's nice, and the Barrow kind of redeems himself again. But I love that he goes the lengths he'll go.
Right?
And we're going, yay! How horrible for Diane, but yay!
He did it.
No, but he did. He did. Diana said as she got into the car, you saved, I know you did it to save him, but you also saved me. It was great humiliation.
That's what she said to Rose, but the whole thing was set in motion to get Cinderby, and I felt horrible for Diana Clark. She came all the way out there to experience that.
Well, she's in a horrible situation. Let's just face it. Yeah.
That's it.
You can't.
That's right. You can't have top billing. That's
you
right.
don't have any rights.
No, you're right about that.
The man's married with kids.
That's it.
Why did you have his baby? In 1920.
There you go. 24.
1924.
No, well, it was in 1919.
Yeah, exactly.
Kid was 6 or 7.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Bad idea, girl.
All right, so I guess we can move on to the next thing. I thought Rose was particularly good in this episode. I thought they gave her great things to do, great things to play, and they even kept her that youthfulness when he said there was a gramophone in the room. She's
and when they all arrived to Brancaster Castle, she's like,
very excited.
Okay, I know I'm the one who's supposed to have the news, and I don't on this because she's off to do Cinderella.
It's already done.
It is done. I know.
I saw the
trailer came out a couple weeks ago. I think I tweeted it, and I hope people saw it. It looks so amazing. But is she coming back next series?
I have not
heard anything.
Okay, predictions.
No, we'll get to that. All right, so while we're still at Brancaster Castle, let's talk about Mary's new suitor.
What? What do you mean new suitor? What are you talking about? I have no idea.
Well, I'm hoping that everybody will be happier because he's a lot taller than Charles Blake.
He's taller, and he's got great eyes, and he's hot. I like him.
One of our Twitter Anna, my friend in Ireland, she says, new fella, dye his hair, and he's the image of Matthew.
Okay.
Right?
So you obviously...
I approve. Darker hair. I like the eyes. He's tall, and he doesn't look goofy.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot more to his character that we don't know about.
Oh,
I don't know anything. I'm assuming he's going to be back next series.
Well, they were very tight to the vest then with who he is and what he is.
But she liked that car.
Yeah.
Right, but he's got things going on.
Sure. Well, did you like him?
I did like him, and I liked him in the Imitation Game too.
Of course, yes. And he's good. He's great in The Good Wife. Let's put it that way.
Oh, he's in The Good Wife.
Love him in The Good Wife.
Yeah, he's terrific. I've never seen him be bad in anything. I think the guy's amazing.
No, but he was very charming.
Yes.
I loved that he was kind of matching her in her sort of coyness and her, giving and taking at the same time.
Yeah, they
which
had
is
a great little interplay.
Yeah, that's always fun to see.
That's
Yes.
Spencer.
And I like that
Pepper
he kind of trumped her a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially in the end, because she's like running out to the car.
Yeah,
Right? She was like,
oh.
Don't go.
If you didn't see it, when you watch it, watch her left hand, because she's like standing there, her hands like totally giving her away. She's like, what she wants to do is go like this, come back. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Okay,
We haven't seen Mary that thirsty in quite some time.
And he is a tall drink of water.
He's a tall drink of water.
There you go.
Get it,
I love the whole thing. Like she's talking about the car. Oh wow, the car.
Yeah.
Nice chariot.
Oh, it's
wow.
yours.
And then he hops in it so rakishly and speeds off. I have to say though, that shot of them outside when the car is driving down the road past the castle. The only thing I was thinking was Matthew.
Matthew,
Get a roll bar on your car.
That was about exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it was happened at a Christmas show.
Like, better here, guys.
It's like that was maybe not the best.
Don't
shot.
go so fast.
Okay, so one of the things that he said was, she says, well, do you shoot much? And he says with this little,
Yeah, it's not my best.
grin, not at this level.
Yeah.
Which would imply that he's, lower than that, or he's probably an Olympian or something like that.
We don't know. Yeah, that'll be interesting to find out.
Yes, it will be.
So,
But Mary's very impressed with him.
We want to find out, which is a good sign.
I thought he was
Shooting's not
more
his
than
real sport, it's cars.
Cars.
Yes. But I thought he was more than capable. I thought he was a good match for her.
Yes.
And bested her and a few things. And
Yes.
I think that repartee is going to go on nicely next series.
She likes that too, as much as we do.
That'll be great. So
Goes with her new haircut.
Yeah, that sassy new haircut.
Did I say I wasn't going to refill my glass because it's almost empty?
Well, you might have
We
to
got a
do
long
that.
way to go. You might need to.
I do.
We've already talked to Mary. Let's get on to Edith because poor Edith. Not so poor this episode.
We may be able to finally retire the hashtag poor Edith.
Yes, maybe.
Because this was a beautiful episode for her.
You realize it's just a setup.
She did wear a red dress.
Yes.
It was Christmas.
But
Oh, come on.
No? Okay.
It doesn't matter. Like, she's usually in browns and oranges and like dark.
How's yours?
Oh, okay. So
I got her way before Courtney did.
that was very. All right, so
Okay, you can tell me.
we're
I
happy
can
with
and
this
I
change.
will.
No, you guys don't you think that they're just setting it up so that we can have more poor Edith next season?
Yes, because Courtney's face will show up and she'll be in love with somebody else or something, and it'll be a disaster.
Right, that's
But
predictions, but
It'll be
that's sort of where we're headed.
But
I
for
know, but
90 minutes, we could appreciate it.
Wasn't it great that we finally get like, geez, would you please do something different with her? Yeah.
Okay, so early on, she was like, Mary's like, come to Mummy, and Edith is like, come to me.
Yes, it's not obvious at all.
Oh, Marigold.
And Grantham is figuring out when's the best time to let the secret out.
Yeah,
of
course, like,
saying,
no,
it's not our secret to tell. Until he has a scare with, angina. He decides. And I thought that scene between them was very, very sweet and a long time
one of
coming.
my favorite scenes in the show.
Yeah.
Definitely the moment that I said, thank you, Juliet.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows, and she says, I want your forgiveness, Father, and he says, I think I need to forgive you, but you need to forgive me.
Yeah, I need your forgiveness as much as you need mine.
And as I was watching it, she says, but please, Papa, do I have your forgiveness? And he says, and I said it with him the first time I watched it, oh my darling, because I knew that was what he was going to say. And that's because as much as we don't see the affection between the parents and children in this show, It's absolutely there. When push comes to shove, he's there for his daughters. Yeah. And, you know, as a daughter of, you know, a dad with 3 girls, I get it.
And it was especially because, you know, the last few episodes we've seen him talking about, oh, God, I hope they don't tire her and things. He's just
saying
so
horribly cool things. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was, you know, finally they had a moment. It's like, thank you, she's your daughter.
Yeah.
Well, and also really acknowledging that it wasn't just about making a mistake. It was about Gregson being an honorable man, about her loving her daughter, and, you know, really sort of acknowledging that for all time this situation has been happening. Yeah. And, you know, we have to deal with it, and let's be kind about it, and let's honor Gregson's memory. Let's, I don't know if the word's honor, but be appropriate to your child and really, you know, help her along with the way she deserves to be helped.
But they're still going to keep it in-house.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see
but
how long that
somebody
lasts.
made the comment saying that it's not just for her, but for Marigold. Because if Marigold's the bastard child that don't have a daddy, it's just as horrible for her.
And people will use that term.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course they will. Of course they will.
And still not telling Mary.
Don't. Because Mary's still a biatch. Okay?
Exactly.
I don't know if we were at that part or not, but they had a really great exchange.
Exactly.
I'll find it eventually, but I was like, wow,
what she
Mary.
says, when they were talking about Tom going to America,
Boston.
That's
the whole
what it
thing
was.
about...
You're leaving me here with you.
Yeah, that she's not so sad about him leaving as much as she's sad about her staying left home with Edith. That was like, what, really? Okay, but then when that happened, I was going, oh, come on.
How old are we? Are we still in grade
school? That's what I'm saying. And I get it. I know familial things. I get sibling rivalry and the whole thing.
Do you?
Yeah,
really?
that's a little bit.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I have 6. I'm the 6th to 7. So I understand all those things. But
you were a baby, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. But, I mean, at 35, really, you're still running the same number?
I would like to answer that question, too.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
There are those that are still running that same number.
I'm sure you are, but we left it way behind.
I'm the middle of 3 girls.
Okay. She's the middle of 3 girls.
She's the middle of 3. That's why we get along.
You really are sisters.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it sort of seems silly that Mary throws these barbs sometimes, but, you know, let's be honest, the family dynamic continues.
I know.
And in certain situations, it becomes more important when there are high stakes, and this is a high-stakes family.
I understand all those things. I don't disagree with all those things. What I'm saying is, as a viewer, it's tiresome.
I agree.
I think you need to move that along.
Yeah.
I get bored with it. It sounds
I
like
laugh
the same
out
thing.
loud every time, so I don't think I'm tired yet.
Well,
I find it amusing. I'm like, you're such
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it doesn't show any growth that is true, so it's not like there was any evolution in their relationship.
You know, just talking a little bit about Mary being snarky, when she was with Mr. Handsome, the new Matthew, the brown-haired Matthew. Tolbert. You know, she's throwing back at him during the picnic.
Right.
And I thought, does she think that's charming?
Oh, yeah. When she's...
Does she?
I would probably say
yeah, because I think she's playing hard to get.
Or is she just so used to, you know, being the princess of everything? And I don't know. But she's a woman who, you know, definitely speaks her mind, whatever it is and however it serves her. And it does seem a little ridiculous sometimes, but...
All right.
But it's fun to watch.
But moving on to to the next part of Edith's storyline. So she gets that wonderful moment with Dad, and, you know, Marigold gets more embraced by the family, if not Mary. But she gets to meet Bertie Pelham, excuse me.
Pelham, yes.
Who's a third cousin to Lord Hexham, I believe, who owns
Brancaster.
Right. And he doesn't seem to be too impressed with that, or that he even really cares about the third cousin situation.
I'm just the agent, and I have no aspirations.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But they seem to really get along. And I go, well, we got another love interest for Edith, too.
He wasn't handicapped. He's her age.
Yeah. There you go. So in Edith's world, that's a huge coup.
It is. Nice callback, Courtney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give a girl a break.
There you go.
Yeah.
So do we like that pairing? Do you think that's going to continue? What do we think?
I do. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting because we got to see Edith, you know, become someone new with working with a paper and becoming a journalist. Some of that journalism stuff was coming in with her asking questions. Yep. But then in the end, when he asks her, do you have any burning aspirations? He's like, nope.
Yeah, she's very happy with where she is.
I'm happy being a mom.
So, yeah.
But, you know, who knows where it will go from here.
But I think they'll play that out.
It'll be a distraction for a little while, I think.
Till Gregson comes back and it gets all crazy.
Yeah, maybe she'll be pregnant again. Because it'll be like 32, and it'll be like,
two bastard children.
Two bastard children, and I don't know who the daddy is.
Oh, God, two bastard children.
Wow.
Okay. If she hits 3, she'll have a trifecta.
If he is some sort of cousin of the Lord Hexamer, stranger things have happened with
inheritances.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
so suddenly he will be.
What if she equals Mary with being a mother in the next season? And I know I'm going to predictions, but whatever. And then bests her by marrying better than Mary does.
Ooh, well, that could be very interesting indeed.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, but we didn't take going back real quick. Let's talk about Mary and Charles Blake, and Mary and Tolbert, and that. There could be another love triangle there, because I don't think Charles Blake is gonna.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about.
We forgot his name already.
It took me a good 5 minutes to remember his name. I gotta tell you.
We just know he was the little one.
All right, that's enough. I'm gonna have to fight for him now because you said
that. Nah.
Don't bother.
All right, moving on. Speaking of other things we don't want to bother with or don't really care too much about.
Oh my God!
I want to talk the Anna Bates storyline.
Oh, jeez.
Well, now a lot of people are still interested. I'm not one of them. Because every time the storyline came out, I'm going, yeah. So and and they even went so far as to have, obviously we saw Mary visiting her in prison. But then we saw Bates visiting and using the exact same lines, and then even talking about this, not the exact same, but very much the same lines in reverse.
When she visited him.
Exactly. And then they even talk about doing that. And I'm going,
it's stupid.
Exactly. Hello. It's very.
And none of our jaws dropped.
All right. So the new information is that she cut her she will cut a bitch. Or a dude. She will cut a dude.
Oh my God.
That was amusing.
Yeah.
So she cut her stepfather, and she has a
history of this.
Her encounter with Green was not a first time
out of
scenario.
Character.
Which
so
is
all
terrible.
those character references would be for naught because she's done this in the past.
Your stepfather was trying to molest you. You stab him, and somehow that means you would kill your rapist.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She...
Sleep.
Courtney took a nap during this storyline.
It starts to look bad for her.
Yes.
All the phone calls go out that say that she's going to be prosecuted because of this past history. Yeah. And then,
of course, Bates confesses. Which is something we discussed on many occasions, that he wouldn't let that happen, and he would confess or something like that.
He's confessed and he's on the lam.
Right.
And with no one with half a brain would believe anyway, but they do.
Well, because they have something they couldn't.
Because he wrote it down.
Well, yeah, and then since he did that, it's too easy for the defense to say, hey, look, you have somebody. Yeah. It can't be us. So the jury would never convict somebody if somebody else has confessed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there is no case that can be made.
Anna comes back. She's welcomed with open arms because everyone knows that she's not guilty.
Yeah.
And then Bates confesses, and there's the quandary of if he's guilty, then I'm innocent, and if I'm innocent, then he's guilty.
Or if I'm guilty, he's innocent.
That's what I said. If I'm guilty, then he's innocent, and if he's... Whatever.
It's a transitive property of logic.
Thank you. And so she's concerned in the end that she's going to be, prosecuted again because she's only out on bail at this point.
Yes.
But then her accuser, her witness, is starting to get
second thoughts.
Have second thoughts.
Decide that maybe it wasn't her.
Midget.
Exactly. And we don't care about that. But really, the only reason why I wanted to talk about it was how nobly Molesley stepped up.
That was sweet.
That was kind of good, right?
Yeah. Gave him something else to do.
Exactly, because he's kind of been the.
And he got to have his little relationship.
Again, one of our wonderful Twitter followers made up.
Their celebrity name.
Yeah, their celebrity name, which is Baxley.
Baxter Mosley Baxley.
Love it. Love it. I think that was Katie who said that.
That will work.
Yeah, Katie Bailey.
Better than Moulter or something like that.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Molesler.
Yeah.
Molester.
Yeah, that's not. No.
Baxley. So they go out and
I love this. They went to every pub.
Every single
not every one of them because they stopped when they got
at like 60.
Yeah, but that was pretty good. Door to door to each pub that they could get to find the guy, and it was great. And they did explain it well. I mean, the guy remembered him because of course you would remember a guy with Kane who you fought in a war with, et cetera, had conversations with. So
for once we believed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was believable.
That's true. It was believable.
Okay, sorry that I had to say that. And then Lord Grantham says, you've done a fine thing.
Yes.
Fine. And
they're like, thank you, sir.
Jerry.
And how can we ever repay you, right? I can't find it in my notes, but I remember that. So that was quite lovely. And then Bates comes back
from Ireland.
And they kiss and whatever. Okay, and so sick to death of the story. It was so powerful last season 4. Season 5, it was starting to get tiresome. And as we talked about, I was really hoping that Julian Fellows would come up in the end in the credits and go, oh my God, you want to know who really killed Green? I'm going to tell you. I never told it. And so at this point, I mean, I didn't care weeks ago. I really don't care going into this last season. And we got sick of Bates being in jail when he was in jail. I got sick of Anna being in jail. I don't want anybody to be in jail anymore. Yeah. I had a slight hope for an unfortunate hunting accident this season because we had hunting, but none of the principals were involved.
Nope.
But whatever, turn the page, I'm done.
Well, I feel like he has to still do something because he has to redeem himself because this was a disaster.
Who, Julian Fellows?
Yes.
Well, but what he's going to...
The storyline was a disaster.
But he's going to have to rekindle our ire. And our defense of Anna and her, purity or whatever you want to call it. Because, the fact that she was victimized is so in the past right now that all of the, righteousness that all of us fans were feeling as she was becoming a victim has fallen away. He trifled with us through this season. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. But he did. I look at John and he's like, but he trifled with us this season. And the fact that there was no resolution, I don't care anymore. I haven't cared all season. So he's going to have to rekindle our devotion to Anna in order to make it satisfying. Otherwise, let it drop away and stop talking about it.
Maybe that's the commentary, though, that the rapes or things like that would happen. And people are angry and, oh, no, what is she supposed to do? But in the end, there's nothing really that can be done or happen for them because they are not women of a certain class and they don't mean anything, and that's why.
And it happened every day.
It's the most unfulfilling, nobody's going to get gotten for it or justice won't be served because that's
I think that's a very solid...
Some people say justice was served in the sense that
he died.
Green is dead.
But he's dead, very not satisfyingly.
Again, one of our Twitter followers talked about that it's a gambling debt, that Gillingham had gambling challenges, and so let's just put on record, Katie, that you think it was a gambling debt.
It's going to be the new guy that Mary's dating.
Okay.
That's up to sketchy.
Talk about a coincidence. Anyway, my whole point is that we were so riled up about Anna being victimized by Green and that whole scenario. The way that this played out was so unsatisfying that, and I think that's a really valid point that you make, that that's how the truth is. But you know what? This isn't truth. This is TV. And I would. Wait. It's not how it actually happened. It's drama.
It's real life.
And I would have liked for it to be more satisfying, and I still, wished that it was an unfortunate hunting accident. Last season.
Still waiting on my jaw to drop.
So even the whole him
my jaw never dropped. Thank you.
I'm still waiting.
Thank
Let me know.
Hello.
But so the satisfying moment between Bates and Anna at the end there didn't work?
Really satisfying.
For you?
It was kind of just like...
Well, isn't that nice? Let's move on. What else is happening?
Because they keep doing the same
I love
crap.
That Courtney opens this podcast by saying that when she watched it, she was like, but this storyline, she's like, so that pretty much says it all from me.
That says it all.
Okay, there you go. All right, so
I think it was a misstep. It was a misstep.
I've said from the beginning it was a misstep not to show them overcoming everything instead of the way he grew. But that's what he did. That's what he chose to do. So let's move on to Spratt and Denker.
Spratt and Denker. Hello.
Because I was surprised to see that they actually kept the storyline going.
I thought it was adorable.
But they did, and I was like, all right, okay, great. So we got to see more of Spratt being highly indignant and obnoxious, and Denker being self-righteous in a sense. It's like, I could do it.
I can make a broth, for God's sake.
It's not that hard.
Don't be ridiculous.
It's all surrounding a broth. It's like,
do you take up the challenge of the wooden spoon?
Yeah. Oh my God, the two
I
of
do
them.
take up that challenge.
And then one of my favorite moments in the whole episode, and I had a lot of them, was the first time we see that fight continuing, and Violet she's having Isabel over for tea, and then we realize that they're going to continue the fight, and the scene ends, and the last thing you see is Violet just throwing up her arms, going, "Oh my God!"
Right, she literally throws up her hands.
It was so great.
Exactly. And I was just going, "Oh, this is great," because even
Messy
she
in the
was
house.
having a hard. It was just like, I can't even control her own people.
Well, her opening line about, Lord Grantham talking about Mary visiting Anna in prison, and Lord Grantham says, "Come on, you can't say that you wouldn't defend
Visit
Danker in prison." She's like, "Only to make sure the locks were tight," or whatever it was she said, "were secure."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
That's
find
nice.
good help these
That
days.
is nice. It was nice.
Funny.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole broth fiasco, and Denker can't make it, so she goes. And this was nice. It goes over to Pat
Not
more
only can
about
she
people.
not make it, it's stinky.
Yeah.
It smells bad. What were you putting in
That
there?
was pretty good. But Daisy's the one that comes up with the plan.
Yes.
Nice. I'll make it for you. We'll give you the fix-it so you can pretend to put on a whole show and the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's not enough to thwart.
No.
Spratt
You
figures
will
it
not
out.
fool me.
How about Spratt and his
Pours
oh my God, the look on his face is just, there you go. It's like, wow, these guys in their turf is so important
It
to them.
is.
I mean, but they didn't have anything else.
I know, but it just cracks me. It's so small-minded, but I love it. I mean, it's hysterical to watch.
You got things you got to do. You got to create
Oh my God.
importance.
Keep life interesting.
So Denker makes a broth.
Oh, it's-
She lifts the thing off and is like, "Woo!" That
Yeah,
is
even she knows it's
stinky.
revolting.
She knows it's terrible.
Yeah.
She knows.
Violet comes in, the Dowager Countess.
Oh, let me try it.
The way she said, it's delicious.
Delicious. And Sprout's like, you lie. No.
Yeah, and he's not even. He doesn't believe it. Can't believe it. It's impossible. And I thought for sure he was going to dive right in to taste it himself.
Yeah.
But no, couldn't do that. So.
She wobbled out.
And what it all came down to that Violet hates dissension. She
Dissension
won't have
she's
it.
like,
in the
"Shut 'em
house. She
up."
will not.
Exactly. Yep.
Shut them up.
I don't like dissension.
Yes. And by the way, why don't we?
dissension.
I'm not hungry enough to do your broth honor right now.
We don't need it every
I'll have it later.
It might turn before I am ready.
day to it.
That was nice, though. I like that little storyline between the
cute.
two of them. You get to have some
Very
nice,
cute.
very good fun to alleviate
It
some of the
really
craziness.
is funny how all the intrigue is going on at all times.
Yeah.
Nothing is as it seems and is out front. It's all like, okay, what just happened here? What am I supposed to be doing? Whose team am I on?
Yeah.
With everyone, upstairs, downstairs, royalty, lordship, landed, or a cook.
Yeah.
It's all going on the
the
undertones, and I
time.
love it.
Well,
Gotta do stuff when you didn't have TV.
That's true. And
Yes.
that moves us to the next storyline, which
Yes.
is Violet and Kurgan. Talk about going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, okay. So Violet, of
That
course, has
woman.
got Shrimpy to help find the princess and bring her back. So that she
Ileana.
saved her and stuff. Ileana. And they're gonna have the big dinner with the prince and the princess present, so they can see each other after 5 years of not seeing each other.
I loved her checking in with Isabel and saying, "You'll be there
Oh, yeah.
in advance,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because you've got my back," is essentially what
Yes,
she's saying,
exactly.
right?
I
Love
I
it.
did, didn't you?
BFFs.
They
I love
are
everything
BFFs.
about them.
But this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, because for so long they've had those people bicker at each other,
Yes.
meaning Violet and Isabel,
Isabel.
which that's been fun too.
It
But it
is
was nice
fun.
to see their. That's what I was talking
Yes.
about between the sisters. Can't we move something into a different room? No,
They're still young.
not for you.
They're still too young.
Yeah, no, they're
And
not young. They're
married.
35 for crying
They're
out
not
loud. Get
married.
over it.
And they're young and they're
They haven't had enough heartbreak.
No,
enough
geez.
life
Yeah.
experience
Now,
yet.
that being said, next series, I'm sure the Dowager and Isabel are going to
We'll
be at it
fight
again.
again.
But it's great to see them having each other, and being supportive, and being friends. And
Well, because there
all
was
that
a
kind of
little bit of challenge to that relationship
Sure.
as Isabel was considering marrying up, essentially.
Yeah, but that's good. She found a way through that. I mean,
Yes, she did.
And I think. I'm just saying, I thought that was a smart move to move that relationship on, because it's much more interesting when it's textured right, as opposed to the same thing every freaking time.
No, and to see them as allies, because in a certain way we root for
Right.
each of them,
Yes.
and to see them as allies with knowing everything about each other,
'Cause
right?
they
So
still-
I know
Right.
some of your dirty laundry. I'm going to learn some more of it in a little bit.
And they still disagree.
Yes.
They don't agree with each other's position.
oh, there's still some of this
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
going on.
But
What did you say?
Yeah, it's much more laid layered, and I just think it's way more interesting to watch.
But that's because they're
it was
in
fantastic.
a different place in life.
Loved it.
I don't care. I think the other ones are
They've
just
seen
ridiculous
other
and
stuff,
stupid. And
but they've
silent.
only been in the castle of Downton forever, and all they have is that little unit. She's been to Russia and fell in love and ran
That's
away.
true. And speaking of that, let's get back to the princess.
So let's speak of that.
So the princess comes, and boy, is she a wet
She's
mop.
a bitter
Sour.
Betty.
Sour, all caps, what I wrote.
Bitter Betty.
And I love Isabel and Lord Merton going, I'd love to go to Russia. Isn't it nice to be in Paris? Oh my God, what about this soup? Isn't this an incredible dip?
How British. To be so polite and kind and trying to get sweet.
Well, and that's what Violet talked about. Our only guarantee of civility is strangers or whatever.
Oh, yes, the presence of strangers is the only guarantee for good behavior.
I pretty much got there.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you, Courtney.
I got that one.
Yeah. She's so rude, the princess.
Well, you know, and again, from where she's come from, I mean, can you really blame her?
Sure.
Because, you know, and she also is carrying the knowledge that we don't know yet
Right.
of what happened
What their
between
history is.
Violet and the prince.
But still have some kind of gracious
That's
Right.
true.
attitude.
Why don't you
She
say
gave you a new
great-
dress.
Thank you for the, you know.
She's like, I lost the will to live.
Yeah.
Like, she's awful.
I do think, though, that...
remember where she was. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
last thing we knew, she was
we
in
don't-
some.
She wasn't a hooker.
She was
we
a-
decided she wasn't
she
a
was a
hooker.
nurse.
She was a nurse.
A nurse.
She was rubbing toes.
In a whorehouse. I mean, wow.
Okay, but
Hey, she had a house, John. She had a house.
I have to say, as Westerners, whether it's
All
British or Americans, that you know, my brain is sort of conditioned against that swallowing the L that they do with a Russian accent. Can you do? I know. Oh.
Yeah, I see.
You know, I thank you. I loved my friends. You know, and so, you know, watching her talk, first of all, it sounded like.
Natasha.
Thank you, Natasha and Boris, and I don't even remember what that was because I was a tiny little kid. It sounded so silly, and also you just kind of are like, really?
She looked scary.
She did look scary, and her disdain that she was throwing at everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were ready to not like her.
Yeah, and she served that purpose well.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
She did a fine job at getting us to not be happy with her or like her in any way, shape, or form.
True.
And it made us understand the prince.
Isn't a fan either.
But didn't it make you understand the prince so much more?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, no
Like, I
wonder
don't
why
want
he
to be
wants.
with that chick.
Yeah,
why do you want to find her?
Yeah, exactly.
The last 5 years have been fantastic
Yes, I'm
without you.
fine.
I'm good. I'm broke,
I
but
am
I'm okay.
good.
And his desire to still want to run away with Violet.
I know.
He's been pining for that for 60 years.
I know.
Okay,
And then
so
I cried.
She cried.
I almost
No.
cried when Violet was sitting in the chair and she goes, I'll never again receive an immoral proposition from a man.
Ever.
Like, ever.
and was I so wrong to savor it?
So broken.
Yeah.
Fascinating, though, to finally hear the story, and it was incredibly dramatic
Yes.
when we did hear the story.
Carriage.
She was literally dragged out of the carriage.
from the carriage.
And what I loved about it was that Violet understood that the princess actually saved her from a horrible fate.
From the abyss, as she calls it.
Well, and not only the sort of psychological abyss, but
Right.
the path that the princess ended up taking is
sure.
the path that Violet would have taken, as opposed to the path that she did take. It was earth-shattering.
Yeah. That was a jaw dropper, right? To hear that
That
story.
was
It was a jaw dropper
Yeah.
in a horrible way because I was kind of
Yeah.
like, really, would it have been that bad? I mean, 'cause
we don't
maybe they
know.
both would have been dethroned, like,
Yeah,
because they couldn't be in their spaces.
Who knows?
And
It
they
could have been them against the world
They
and all
could
that
have
kind
like
of stuff.
moved to Indonesia somewhere and been
Yeah,
happy.
could have been.
Well, it's really quite sad, though, to
But she
see...
wouldn't have her children and
She
all
wouldn't
that
have her
other stuff,
children.
so that was-
And to see the prince so downtrodden
Yeah.
Yes.
and and
He's
still completely devoted to her.
Duty.
Was very sad.
Yeah.
No, I mean to Violet.
Violet, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to really like, I still would
Yeah.
love to be with
take
you.
care of
her.
After
And
60
Yeah.
years, are you kidding?
Yeah, and he still, in his own way, doesn't understand her. She even says that you would
Yeah.
if you tried.
Why would you give
Yeah.
up?
And stuff like that. And you know, from his perspective, I'm going, yeah, I don't understand you either. What do you? But you know, she's caught in that caste system, so to speak.
Oof.
Yes.
And is unwilling to move out of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
you should have seen the lady and been like,
Yeah, but you know, the thing
Oh,
is,
for you.
he has the perspective of, look, I've been forced out of that world,
he's
so now
lost
I know
everything. Yeah,
it's okay out here, and you haven't been. So so there's that.
Yeah.
But I especially like what you said about that moment when she says that I'm never going to have this again.
Terrible.
Yeah, it is. It was really, but that was one of those great moments in this particular episode where you just went, wow, they went there and it worked. I mean, they really hit that home, and I thought that was a terrific.
She's like a full person. Because you have all your feelings. Just because she's old doesn't mean she's lost anything in her emotions, and it was just.
Yeah, it was really sad too. Because you realize that part of your life is gone.
Yeah.
Because until then, you might not it wasn't in your awareness, or you might think there's still hope.
Until you feel it again.
Yeah.
Well, and
felt it.
Yes.
I don't know if we want to make the transition to Isabel, but it's a similar scenario with Isabel because she's been given this sort of. Can I go there?
Yeah.
Okay. This last, chance at happiness. We've been talking about that since. The last episode, that she's been given a chance at happiness with Lord Merton,
right?
And she loves him, he loves her, but his son, freaking Larry, is in the way.
Larry, yeah, exactly.
But Larry's the one who.
Yeah, the letter from Larry.
Can you help?
That's all right. So. Since it's the same kind of storyline, let's go to Isabel right now as well, because they both were talking about this, Violet, and I mean, that's the one thing.
And their sort of year in review.
And we'll get to that part of the storyline. But so Isabel's decided that she can't come between a father and his son,
right?
Yes,
and that she's not going to spend her last years worrying about or living in that loathing and all that kind of stuff. And again, that goes back to, in a sense, the duty of it all, because there's that, and I was just going, oh man, even Isabel, who usually is the more progressive of all of them.
Absolutely, that was the exact word that was in my head.
And she's going, and I'm just going, please, just tell the sons to piss off.
Yeah, but in the same note, I kind of felt like it still made her progressive by not just accepting what they're going to do and marrying this man because that's what he wants really badly, and she does want to be with somebody because she's like, I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life coming between you guys and having to deal with that kind of conflict.
I'm
happy.
Part is clear.
I'm okay by myself, and I would love to be with you, but you can't fix that, so I'm just going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, and that's and the truth of it was, when she had those moments, when Isabel has those moments with Lord Merton, two things were happening. I'm thinking about Lord Merton, and I'm going, here's this guy, and he truly loves her. He does. You can see that and he even confesses that he wasn't very good to his first wife.
Right.
And so here is his last shot at happiness, and he's not going to get it either because of his son's being horrible.
Yeah, being rat bastard, selfish, self-serving, childish.
Yeah, and I'm just going. Doesn't any of the adults stand up and say, forget the kid?
Nobody grows up until you're 60.
The marrying for love thing is an incredibly modern thing.
True.
Because especially within the aristocracy, it was all about combining our houses and creating our power and our wealth and all that kind of stuff. But interesting because these kids are actually talking about, I don't want you to replace my mother, which is an emotional
connection.
But I mean, it's so childish. And again, they're 35 for crying out loud.
Turn the page, let it go.
In the big house for all 35 years. They don't have the same perspective that they.
But again, I get that. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm also saying, you're the father.
Yeah.
Be the father.
Yes.
Well, he was. But
he just tells his kids to
like them.
Screw off. I'm disowning you. Too bad. You're not getting anything.
Okay, so the fact that there were a couple of months in between the letter and when Lord Merton learned about the letter, and she says to him, "That's final, as final as if you had spat in my eye."
Jeez.
Which was so sad.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
He was like.
So, but the thing is that because there was that time jump that he was not party to, or privy to, rather, does that invalidate his sort of ability to say to his kid, no, you can't do that, I'm doing it anyway?
No, he could say that anytime.
Okay. Yeah, he just do it anyway.
But he can't make Isabel do it.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't mind that they decided to part ways. I think it's great TV and that's fine.
We want Doctor back.
But I still going. I don't. It's like, why would you? Who cares? Why would you give a crap about the kids?
Because you don't want them.
Well, here's the thing: the kids. How often
it makes Christmas really
they're adults.
awkward.
They're out in their own world, so don't have Christmas with them.
Who's going to take care of you when you're really old and decrepit?
That's my
and can't
point.
do
Is
anything?
you have a few years left. Go enjoy them with the person you want to enjoy them with. You have enough money. Hire people to take care of you. Why do you need the kids?
You could hire.
Why do you need these kids? They're ungrateful. They don't. If they really loved their father, they wouldn't be doing this. So what good are they?
Oh. Just throw the kids away.
Exactly. Throw them away.
Shut them in the attic and let them out when they're 101, as
You've
Mary would
raised
say.
horrible sons. Acknowledge it. Move on. That's it.
You failed at your job.
That's right.
Try again with love at least.
You did.
I don't know. I just think that, I think that's I obviously agree with you. I'm pretty sure Courtney agrees with you.
I think it's a very modern idea.
Thank you. That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah. So,
But you send your kids off to boarding school. You don't see them for years. You can't send them off now?
But when they have that kind of disdain for the person, it just causes all kinds of problems. It's just not worth
Cut the cord.
That's why Isabel's like, I'm good. I'll drink my tea and hang out with my girl. And we're good.
As Violet says, Dr. Clarkson will be thrilled.
Yeah, exactly. That part of it I love. That part of it I think is, again, I didn't mind either way because I like Dr. Clarkson. I think they're a great match. Yeah. But I felt horrible for Merton because I thought, this guy was kind of
like, I love you.
Yeah, he was terrific. But
well, he actually said those words, which we don't really hear.
Yeah,
and he's in misery without her.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm. But Dr. Clarkson will be thrilled.
Yes, and that'll be fun to see. Because they did seem, we were pining like crazy to have them together.
We were.
She just dropped him like a bad habit.
Yeah, and that's going to be weird. How is they going to mend that fence?
Something else will happen.
He's probably still carrying a torch.
They'll nurse people together and find love over old feet.
Now,
what do we have?
We got to get back to this because we have a little time left, and I wanted to get. It was done but this episode was done in like 2 acts. So the first act, a much longer act. The second act, a shorter act, which is all Christmas 1924.
Christmas 1924.
So because it was a Christmas special, let's get to Christmas. It set the stage great by showing Downton with the snow and the inside with all the fixings that we talked about before with the tree. Yeah, exactly. Putting the dress in the tree and all that kind of stuff.
Apparently, Mary's a singer.
Isn't it interesting that Cora didn't sing? Cora, who is literally a singer in a band,
that's true.
she didn't sing.
Yeah,
but I suppose you have to have the ingenue sing.
Yes. Okay.
Of course. It was so lovely.
And your sister accompanying you.
And your sister accompanying you. Off to the side, by the tree, behind the piano.
As is their
way. Put the pretty one on the microphone.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, the couple of scenes that I really wanted to talk about. I want to start with.
I can't even talk to you right now.
Yeah, exactly. I want to start with the ladies, and meaning Isabel and the Dowager when they secret themselves away in the little room. Yeah. Wasn't that great?
Let's get away while we can.
And I thought that's just so right because every time you have one of those big things, you find a place.
I try to hide.
Come here, me. Let's go.
You bring your best buddy out. You have, you're talking together, and I just thought that was a great scene together. They're talking about how they've had proposals and propositions, and I thought, oh man, that was a good scene. It was just when you think about the episode, you're going, that's what you want it to be.
Yes.
And that to me was so perfect. I like the scene between the two of them a lot.
It was a nice little stamp on their whole season of growth of love.
And I don't have anything else to say about the scene except that I thought it was great, and I'm so thankful that they included it.
And adorably interrupted by a drunk.
Exactly. Which is so like a Christmas party, right?
Hey, what are y'all doing in here?
I'm gonna go do a speech. Come on.
Exactly. It gave me great hope for their relationship for next series.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that they keep that thing going, and as it's been progressing now.
Right, because there's been this balance of snarkiness and competition, and now the cementing of their relationship because they're very similar situations. I loved it, and I loved that we got some great humor from each of them.
And you could see them. I could watch those gals together just
all the time. Like we need to spin off. That's exactly what I thought.
It would be a crazy one, but wouldn't it be fun?
The grand ladies of Downton.
Exactly.
I love it.
Now the other scene, which I thought was just fabulous, was
I don't
the
have
scene
a
in the
Kleenex,
nursery.
so don't even talk about it too much.
The scene in the nursery when they're there with the putting the little stockings on the bed, and the three of them, and they're talking about let's give a thought to Sybil.
Think about Sybil.
And I was just like,
so I am going to choke up because Tom was talking about, the three of us who loved her the most.
Right. And should have grown old.
Should have grown. That was the thing.
That was the thing that killed you, didn't it?
Yeah, it's because it's like, what about the parents? No, we were supposed to grow old.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I can't. Yeah.
Such a truth in that. That's just different. Yeah.
See, now that's the kind of relationship I want them to keep moving forward.
They will eventually, but they have to stay.
The sisters even held hands, for crying out loud.
They touched each other. That was huge.
The prayer/speech that Mary made, my dear Sybil, wherever you are, and all that kind of stuff was just
happy Christmases and stuff. Yeah. That was a killer scene. It was just it was so tender, so raw and intimate, and just a wonderful scene. And it's been so long in the coming, and that was terrific.
Yeah.
Also, the moment when
Lord broken by a drunk, broken up by a drunk,
right,
but he was still watching.
So when he said he was sort of, you don't know how long he was there. He could have seen the whole thing,
right?
And he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to leave City?"
He was like,
and Tom's response, which was, "I love the way you love her."
Yeah. Kill you, right?
No, I've only got like 5 tears on my face right now.
Good.
Sybil's death was I think way more gut wrenching than Matthew's death.
Agreed.
It was for me. Yeah.
And not to demean Matthew's death because it was important,
but
it was just
and also totally kind of
so unexpected and so
so too soon.
Right.
For such a. She was not what any of them were.
Right.
And she was the personification of kindness and lovingness and all that. And it's that tragedy of losing, someone young and someone so beautiful in so many ways. And, to have this tribute to her was incredibly touching. And that, I love the way you love her. I just thought sort of encapsulated the whole... And our relationship with Sybil.
It really is a testament to the writing and the acting because he just has to call that back, and we're right there. That is still so ingrained and indelible in our minds. That
beds in there.
Yeah, it was terrific. Yeah, it was just such a
too much.
And I'm going. Yeah, this is why I like the show. I love that they're not afraid to go there.
Yes.
And when they do, it's very successful. I mean, for me, it was just terrific.
They did great.
All right. So, and then the other one that I thought was very touching was the send-off to Tom.
Yeah.
With Lord Grantham and the whole
So we have drunk Lord Grantham.
Because drunk Lord Grantham gets saved by Tom.
So back up a little bit. He, in the 3 months or however long it was before, you have an ulcer, so you have to lay off the drink.
Right.
Steady on. I'm gonna be fine. What do you mean?
No, I'm not.
I can't drink. I can't eat no meat. What?
Yeah.
Hey, wait
not
a
until
minute.
Christmas Eve. He's still negotiating.
So, right, we had a lot of criticisms about Lord Grantham this season, series, and talking about how he was kind of mamby-pamby, and he was a little bit ridiculous with Cora, and
and the whole painting, the Francesca,
the Della Francesca, which
got sold,
earned quite a sum.
Yes, apparently
it did.
Allowed us to have a new footman at Christmas. Yay! So for him to redeem himself, I think was really great, and the opportunity for him to let go a little bit with getting drunk off of
for months. He hasn't touched a drop for months.
And so he becomes the jolly drunk who is making negotiations and giving speeches.
Yeah, or trying to. Of course, that's when Tom comes in and saves the day there.
Yeah.
Just like Rose did, he jumps right to it. And then has Mary sing.
So sad.
But then his send-off I thought was very touching.
Yes.
And
but you're
poignant.
just like, you're now the son. You can't leave.
Yeah, I have a big old sad face on my notes. Downton is my home.
Yes.
And this, for a dad, Lord Grantham, who's got just freaking girls everywhere around him.
All over the place.
The opportunity it's taken him a long time, and he acknowledges that. For Sybil to see this and see that I, welcome you as a son to this family, really adds credibility to that relationship. It makes us, we've always loved Tom, but, to see Lord Grantham love him makes it that much more impactful for all of us. And then, the idea that Tom's going to leave, we don't know for sure that he's going to.
Yeah.
Series 6.
Right, I mean, they set it up that they know he's gone, but who knows? You never know.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Maybe there will be a big contract in his future.
Yes. He'll be like, oh, I tried it in Boston.
He'll be Hail the Conquering Hero.
Was he in the Imitation
He'll
Game
make
too?
a huge splash in Boston. It'll be Hail the Conquering Hero. He'll come back.
He'll come back with some shady girl worse than the bunker. Or whatever her name was.
Dummy Bunting, as John called her.
Dummy Bunting. affectionately.
what?
Affectionately. No. We'll get into that predictions. All right, so that was a wonderful thing, and then. You know, just the little things here and there, like for instance, Daisy making goo eyes at Andrew. It's like, what? Okay. We're going to start that going on.
Oh, I'm sorry, we left something out of the Isabel and Violet moment where she says, she saved me from the abyss.
Oh, that, yeah.
And Isabel says, and you've never strayed.
Yeah.
And
that's
Violet
not what I asked.
says, that's not, what did she say?
He said, I've never risked it all.
I've never risked everything. That's not what I asked. That's all you're going to get.
We are the Edwardians.
Oh, we were the Edwardians after all. Okay, sorry, I just had to cover that. That was
thank you for running it.
Saucy.
She has a whole life that we don't know yet, and we'll never know because she's not going to give it up.
No, she is not.
So, all right, let's get to our last thing that I want to talk about, which is obviously the Hughes Carson story. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, wait.
Courtney, what would you like to say about this?
I'm sorry, though. The two of them made that last little moment like the best thing I've seen in a long time on TV. Carson was like freaking Paddington Bear. He was like, do you love me?
That's the
point. And I loved it so
I want to be
much.
Stuck with you.
Exactly. But he was like so bashful about it, and just like it was just so well executed. You guys are amazing.
Yes, agreed. And
I don't get all sentimental about the TVs like that.
I do.
It was too much.
But, so we finished last series with them holding hands,
and that was
leaning
like
leaning on each other by the sea, and so we end up this series with him saying, you know, and she says, if you think, or he says, if you think that I'm asking you to marry me, I am. Are you offended?
Yeah. Am I offended? Yeah. It's the last thing she's offended.
Because I am not marrying anyone else. How perfect and how beautiful for the two of them. Of course I'll marry you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Booby. I thought you would never ask.
We all thought that, but we finally did. Because did anybody know when they were doing the storyline about the houses and all that? I mean, I'm assuming that most people knew that they were leading to that. That at some point
and we hoped.
I honestly didn't expect it in this particular episode because they had everything else going on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure we were going to get there that fast.
Yeah, but then when it happened, it was like, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening now.
Well, and it's reminiscent of the connection that we kept hoping for with Anna and Bates.
Right.
Yes.
Remember, when we, and it was so, that difficult scenario where you don't exactly know what your standing is in life or with this other person.
Yeah. But it's so fascinating that the whole thing, we got to learn about her backstory with her sister and her Kathy, Becky, her special needs and all the stuff, and that she has no money, and that's why she never would even think of the idea that they actually would get married, because who would want me at this point, because I can't bring anything to the marriage, that kind of stuff. And
but
so there was no hint of that.
Hughes. She can bring everything to a relationship. She is his support.
Yes.
In work, and so why not be that as the future comes?
But again, from her perspective,
of course.
I just thought,
touches on how the women and the
Okay, so there's Courtney's three things. The beginning of the show, it's like, then with that, it's like, and then this is.
I don't have words. I apologize.
That's a very difficult thing on a podcast. So
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
A couple days went by between when it came out and when I could watch the show, and I was getting tweets from fans, and they were like, "Wait till the last few minutes. Wait till you will forgive everything."
And did you?
Absolutely, I did.
Nothing wrong with Downton Abbey in my brain at all anymore.
No,
nothing. Not even how goofy looking Gilligan was.
Right.
Gillingham was.
Well, to you, he was a Gilligan.
It was a Gilligan.
So it really did cement it for you, and that was the best thing you'd seen in a long time.
He bought her a house. He bought her a house, and surprised that he essentially got on his knee and said, "I have a house for you, and I want to make the rest of my life with you."
Because I am not marrying anyone else.
A woman who only anticipated just working until death.
Right. Yeah.
In somebody else's house.
So that do it for you?
Drop the mic.
The whole episode really, from what we talked about in the beginning. I just, I love the beauty and the splendor of the Christmas episodes. I'm so glad that they ended at Christmas.
Right.
Because last series we didn't. And we were in the springtime, and it was so nice because, the English and I'm just going to speak for me, am very sentimental about the Christmas time and all of the, all the things that can happen, the snow and Christmas trees and, red dresses and all that.
There's magic from that baby Jesus.
Oh, well, completely delivered for sure.
Yeah. It did. Absolutely. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. I have nothing more to say about the episode.
But I think we need to do predictions.
We do need to do predictions. Yes, absolutely. We're going to move on to the predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Can I start? Because I've got a
Why
list
don't you
of
jump in, Tamara?
Should I, please? Okay, so I already talked about, there's this inequity between Mary and Edith because Mary believes it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I would predict that at least for part of Series 6, which has been rumored in the press to be the last series. Not confirmed by any means, and some of us hope that it won't be the last series, but it could be. So what if there was a flip in circumstances between Mary and Edith?
Okay.
So Mary kind of being, the moneyed widow with all the prospects. And already being a mother, and Edith coming up going, you know what, I'm a mother too, and look, I've got all these prospects too. So I think that might be an interesting flip. Daisy, we foreshadowed it a little bit, with perhaps her being a cook. I forgot to talk about this, but we have a slight little bit of news. Mrs. Patmore, Leslie Nichols, moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she did. She lives in the Hollywood Hills. Maybe we should go over and have drinks with her at some point.
I would totally want to hang out with you.
I would too.
We'll make her some broth and bring it over.
She is returning for Series 6, but she has a brother in South Carolina, and she wants to become a U.S. citizen. Now, this is according to the Daily Mail, of course. So,
yeah. So, okay, we'll hold that on that. So the whole point about it is that were to be the case, and she wasn't a part of the entire
season, and maybe
Daisy, because they've already putting her as she's making broth on her own. She's stepping up. She's not necessarily. She even talked about not wanting to necessarily continue her studies.
Yes.
Because what would be the point to her? But who knows? Maybe she would step into the greater role of being the.
Maybe be the precursor to Julia Child and write a cookbook.
Ooh.
Could happen. We're not going, in theory, we're not going to have Tom. We're not going to have Rose, possibly, or Atticus, because all of them are going to America.
New York, yes.
New York and Boston. So where is it going to go from there? I don't really know.
Because we were even postulating, we don't even know what time. We don't know how far we're going to jump in the future, because it would be interesting. I was saying, geez, we're 1924.
It's got to be after the crash.
That's what I'm saying. You got it, because the whole thing is how the downfall of this society, or the change of this society, I should say.
Which is why Tom is going to come back.
Exactly.
Because it's going to crash. It's not going to be great. It's going to be like, what's the point?
But then we'll
come back and try to help the house.
And how is that going to survive? Exactly. So that would be very, very interesting.
Tom is coming back.
5 years down the road and stuff like that. If we were to go that route, I think that would be a great, because we started with one calamity. If it was to be the end, it would be
a huge calamity.
Exactly.
And then the whole thing ends in World War II.
Yeah, so that would be very interesting.
Do you end the entire series with
in the Depression?
In the midst of the Depression?
Well,
I think
what you
very Julian Fellows.
No, but what it is Julian Fellows, he wanted to talk about or to demonstrate this period of time and what happened to this class.
Absolutely.
And this way of life. And that would be the thing that would change it forever.
Really changed it.
We'd started in this particular moment, and then and so what you would end with is how it kind of fractured and it became something else. It doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing for people. This way of life is gone, and Downton may be gone, but not for these people. Might have they'll have their own lives. Certainly, they'll be better for some and not for others.
Yes.
So that would be very layered and textured, which is what he's always done throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but his way is, at least with this show, is ending on something hopeful.
Except for the death of Matthew.
Oh. Well, the hopefulness will be that they've
But the hope was in their child.
Okay, all right.
There was still hope because she married just had a baby.
I don't think the crash is definitely, because look, everybody knows what came out of it, so it's not necessarily
But
a horrible thing.
they've sort of been working up to being able to deal with how that is going to change their lives. So maybe the whole point will end up being that they are in a position, and it's different, and it sucks in some ways and doesn't in others, but they're able to cope and they keep moving forward.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, but I just think it's such a rich thing to have to deal with.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is. It was so devastating, though, in America, and so many lives were changed incredibly dramatically by the Depression.
But I honestly, here's the thing, history-wise, I have no idea how it affected
the English.
I don't.
I don't know.
Well, it
That's
did.
true. I just know that it did a lot, but I don't know to what degree, like what their lives and what happened.
Well, and
it'll be interesting.
I don't think logistically they can go from was it 19. I don't remember, 1916 or whatever, when 14, when the Downton Abbey began.
12.
To 12. Okay, to
30
to 1930.
29.
That's going to be a hard jump logistically with your actors.
Oh, well, we've been talking about how they haven't aged at all.
Yeah. How old is the Dowager going to be?
The Dowager wouldn't be there, which is why it would be sad.
It is only 5 more years, but and Maggie Smith is going to be on the show until its finale.
Cool. I appreciate that.
But I think that going into the Depression is absolutely a great opportunity for conflict and a great opportunity for story.
But even if they turn it around it starts in January 1925. There's plenty of stuff that they can deal with. I'm just saying from a whole global
world historical perspective.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But he always finds wonderful historical things as the backdrop for something.
True.
So I'm sure he'll find whatever it is, whatever year.
He does. He does.
That change will finally give you what you want from Edith and Mary.
Thank you so much.
Like they need a real life altering event.
Something. Yeah.
And
so
I think the crash might do it for them.
Well, and Gregson is going to come back up.
Yes.
We've been predicting that for a long time.
I haven't. I think the Henry Tolbert, I think will definitely be
back.
A player.
Back.
I honestly think that if I'm doing Fellows and I hear everybody's upset about Charles Blake and not being enough and all this stuff, and he brings this guy in, people are going to go, oh my God. Yeah, he'll use that.
Of course you're going to bring him back.
You better bring him back.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool not to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think that would be wonderful. I'd love to see them go toe-to-toe for a while.
Just quickly, did you guys see the Text Santa with George Clooney mini films?
Yes.
Very fun, right?
Yeah.
Very cute.
Cute, silly, exactly what we wanted from that.
Yes.
I just have to say, again, as much as we criticize this series, people tweeted me as it was airing in the UK. They made up for it with a Christmas special.
They sure
for
did.
me, they really did.
They did, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're back in love.
We love you, Downton Abbey. We love you, Julian Fellows.
Right.
We do.
It made me sad thinking that the next one is the last one.
And we've got like 9 months to wait.
I don't want to think about that part.
Okay.
But I will wait.
All right.
We'll just keep watching reruns.
Any other last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Last thoughts. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah. I want Rose to come back.
I do want
it would be
Rose
nice.
to
She
come
did.
back.
They did a really good job with her.
Can't wait for Cinderella to come
And
out.
if they're moving to New York, that'd be great after the crash.
Let's do New York.
There you go.
Yes.
Let's go to New York.
Let's go to New York for a little while.
Where can they find you?
At Twitter,
Stuart
Instagram,
Starlet.
Stuart Starlet. She knows about it. I was like, wait, at my house? What? Stuart Starlet, yes.
You can find me at Tamara Berg on Twitter. My website is tamaracentral.com. The globe recipe is there. You can find it.
And it's very good, guys.
It's delicious.
Okay, well, you don't find me here, and you won't find me for another 9 months.
Oh, well, John and I are both going to do Justified.
We'll do Justified. We'll do something else.
Yeah.
I'll watch you guys.
So, all right, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you
so much
guys.
for tuning in.
It's been an awesome series.
Especially for all your comments. We love those.
From executive producers Maria Menounos. From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Cup of tea.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
It's not how it actually happened. It's drama.
It's real life.
And I would have liked for it to be more satisfying, and I still, wished that it was an unfortunate hunting accident. Months and months. Well, last season.
Still waiting on my jaw to drop.
So even the whole him
my jaw never dropped. Thank you.
I'm still waiting.
Thank
Let me
you.
know.
Hello.
But so the satisfying moment between Bates and Anna at the end there didn't work?
Really
Was it satisfying for you?
It was kind of just like...
Well, isn't that nice? Let's move on. What else has
Because they
happened?
keep doing the same
I love
crap.
that Courtney opens this podcast by saying that when she watched it, she was like, but this storyline, she's like, so that pretty much says it all from me.
That says it all.
Okay, there you go. All right, so
I think it was a misstep. I think it was a misstep.
I've said from the beginning it was a misstep not to show them overcoming everything instead of the way he grew. But that's what he did. That's what he chose to do. So let's move on to Spratt and Denker.
Spratt and Denker. Hello.
Because I was surprised to see that they actually kept the storyline going.
I thought it was adorable.
But they did, and I was like, all right, okay, great. So we got to see more of Spratt being highly indignant and obnoxious, and Denker being self-righteous in a sense. It's like, I could do it.
I can make a broth, for God's sake.
It's not that hard.
Don't be ridiculous.
It's all surrounding a broth. It's like,
do you take up the challenge of the wooden spoon?
Yeah. Oh my God!
I do take up that challenge.
And then one of my favorite moments in the whole
in Fellows.
No, but what it is Julian Fellows. He wanted to talk about or to demonstrate this period of time and what happened to this class.
Absolutely.
And this way of life, and that would be the thing that would change it forever.
Really changed it.
We'd started in this particular moment, and then and so what you would end with is how it kind of fractured and it became something else. It doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing for people. Mm-hmm. This way of just life is gone, and Downton may be gone, but not for these people. Might have they'll have their own lives. Mm-hmm. Certainly, they'll be better for some and not for others.
Yes.
So that would be very layered and textured, which is what he's always done throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but his way is, at least with this show, is ending on something hopeful.
Except for the death of Matthew.
Oh, well, the hopefulness will be that they've.
But the hope was in their child.
Okay, all right.
There was still hope because Mary had just had a baby.
I don't think that the crash is definitely... Because, look, everybody knows what came out of it. Yeah. So it's not necessarily
But they've
a horrible thing.
Sort of been working up to being able to deal with how that is going to change their lives. So maybe the whole point will end up being that they are in a position, and it's different, and it sucks in some ways and doesn't in others, but they're able to cope, and they keep moving forward.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, but I just think it's such a rich thing to have to deal with.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is. It was so devastating, though, in America, and so
episode, and I had a lot of them. Was the first time we see that fight continuing, and Violet she's having Isabel over for tea, and then we realize that they're going to continue the fight, and the scene ends, and the last thing you see is Violet just throwing up her arms, going, "Oh my God!"
Right, she literally throws up her hands.
Exactly. And I was just going, "Oh, this is great," because even she was having a hard. It was just like, I can't even control her own people.
Well, her opening line about Lord Grantham talking about Mary visiting Anna in prison, and Lord Grantham says, "Come on, you can't say that you wouldn't defend Denker in prison." She's like, "Only to make sure the locks were tight," or whatever it was she said, "were secure."
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't find good help these days.
It's nice. It was nice.
Funny.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole broth fiasco, and Denker can't make it, so she goes. This was nice. It goes over to Pat.
Not only can she not make it, it's stinky.
Yeah. It smells bad. What were you putting in there?
That was pretty good. But Daisy's the one that comes up with the plan.
Yes.
Nice. I'll make it for you. We'll give you the fix-it so you can pretend to put on a whole show and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to thwart.
No.
Spratt figures it out.
Fool me.
How about Spratt and his
pores?
Oh my God! The look on his face is just there you go. It's like, wow, these guys in their turf is so important to them.
It is.
I mean, but they didn't have anything else.
I know, but it just cracks me. It's so small-minded, but I love it. I mean, it's hysterical to watch.
You got things you got to do. You got to create. I just think that. I think that's a. I obviously agree with you. I'm pretty sure Courtney agrees with you.
I think it's a very modern idea.
Thank you. That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah. So,
but you send your kids off to boarding school. You don't see them for years. You can't send them off now.
But when they have that kind of disdain for the person, it just causes all kinds of problems. It's just not worth the energy. Cord. That's why Isabel's like, I'm good. I'll drink my tea and hang out with my girl. And
As Violet says, Dr. Clarkson will be thrilled.
Yeah, exactly. That part of it I love. That part of it I think is, again, I didn't mind either way because I like Dr. Clarkson. I think they're a great match. Yeah. But I felt horrible for Merton because I thought, this guy was kind of
I love you.
Yeah, he was terrific. But
well, he actually said those words, which we don't really hear.
Yeah,
and he's in misery without her. Yeah. That's so sad.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm. But Dr. Clarkson will be thrilled.
Yes, and that'll be fun to see. Because they did seem, we were pining like crazy to have them together.
We were.
She just dropped him like a bad habit.
Yeah, and that's going to be weird. How is they going to mend that fence?
Something else will happen.
He's probably still carrying a torch.
They'll nurse people together and find love over old feet.
Now,
what do we have?
We got to get back to this because we have a little time left, and I wanted to get. It was done but this episode was done in like 2 acts. So the first act, a much longer act. The second act, a shorter act, which was all Christmas 1924.
Christmas 1924.
So because it was a Christmas parade. All right. So while we're still at Brancaster Castle, let's talk about Mary's new suitor.
What? What do you mean new suitor? What are you talking about? I have no idea.
Well, I'm hoping that everybody will be happier because he's a lot taller than Charles Blake.
He's taller and he's got great eyes and he's hot. I like him.
One of our Twitter Anna, my friend in Ireland, she says, new fella, dye his hair and he's the image of Matthew.
Okay.
Right?
So you obviously...
I approve. Darker hair. I like the eyes. He's tall and he doesn't look goofy.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot more to his character that we don't know about.
Oh,
I don't know anything. I'm assuming he's going to be back next series.
Well, they were very tight to the vest with who he is and what he is.
But she liked that car.
Yeah. Right, but he's got things going on.
Sure. Well, did you like him?
I did like him, and I liked him in the Imitation Game, too.
Of course. Yes. And he's good. He's great in The Good Wife. Let's put it that way.
Oh, he's in The Good Wife.
Love him in The Good Wife.
Yeah, he's terrific. I've never seen him be bad in anything. I think the guy's amazing.
No, but he was very charming.
Yes.
I loved that he was kind of matching her in her sort of coyness and her, giving and taking at the same time.
Yeah, they had a great little interplay.
Yeah, that's always fun to see.
That's Spencer.
And I like that he kind of trumped her a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially in the end because she's like running out to the car.
Yeah,
she was like,
don't go.
If you didn't,
it's only 5 more years.
It would be sad.
It is only 5 more years, but and Maggie Smith is going to be on the show until its finale.
Cool. I appreciate that.
But I think that going into the Depression is absolutely a great opportunity for conflict and a great opportunity for story.
But even if they turn it around it starts in January 1925. There's plenty of stuff that they can deal with. I'm just saying from a whole global
world historical perspective.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But he always finds wonderful historical things as the backdrop for something.
True.
So I'm sure he'll find whatever it is, whatever year.
He does.
That change will finally give you what you want from Edith and Mary.
Thank you so much.
They need a real life altering event.
Something. Yeah.
And
so
I think the crash might do it for them.
Well, and Gregson is going to come back up.
Yes.
We've been predicting that for a long time.
I haven't. I think the Henry Tolbert, I think will definitely be
back.
A player.
Back.
I honestly think that if I'm doing Fellows and I hear everybody's upset about Charles Blake and not being enough and all this stuff, and he brings this guy in, people are going to go, oh my God. Yeah,
of course you're going to bring him back.
You better bring him back.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool not to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think that would be wonderful. I'd love to see them go toe-to-toe for a while.
Just quickly, did you guys see the Text Santa with George Clooney mini films?
Yes.
Very fun, right?
Yeah.
Very cute. Dethroned, because they couldn't be in their spaces.
Who knows? It could have been them against the world and all that kind of stuff.
They could have moved to Indonesia somewhere and been happy.
Could have been.
Well, it's really quite sad, though, to see...
But she wouldn't have her children and all that.
She wouldn't have her children.
So
and to see the prince so downtrodden and still completely devoted to her.
Duty.
It was very sad. No, I mean to Violet. To really, I still would love to be with you. After 16 years, are you kidding?
Yeah, and he still, in his own way, doesn't understand her. She even says that you would if you tried.
Why would you give up?
And stuff like that. And from his perspective, I'm going, I don't understand you either. What do you? But she's caught in that caste system, so to speak.
Ooh.
Yes.
And is unwilling to move out of that.
I mean, you should have seen the lady and been like,
yeah. But the thing is, he has the perspective of, look, I've I've been forced out of that world,
he's
so now
lost
I know
everything. Yeah,
it's okay out here, and you haven't been. So so there's that.
Yeah.
But I especially like what you said about that moment when she says that I'm never going to have this again.
Terrible.
Yeah, it is. It was really, but that was one of those great moments in this particular episode where you just went, wow, they went there and it worked. I mean, they really hit that home, and I thought that was a terrific.
She's like a full person. Because you have all your feelings. Just because she's old doesn't mean she's lost anything in her emotions, and it was just.
Yeah, it was really sad too. Because you realize that part of your life is gone. Because until then, you might not even, it wasn't in your.
So there was no hint of that. Hughes. She can bring everything to a relationship. She is his support.
Yes.
In work, and so why not be that?
Right, but
as the future comes.
But I get from her perspective,
of course.
I just thought,
touches on how the women and the
okay, so there's Courtney's three things. The beginning of the show, it's like, then with that, it's like, and then this is.
I don't have words. I apologize.
That's a very difficult thing on a podcast. So
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
A couple days went by between when it came out and when I could watch the show, and I was getting tweets from fans, and they were like, "Wait till the last few minutes. Wait till you will forgive everything."
And did you?
Absolutely, I did.
Nothing wrong with Downton Abbey in my brain at all anymore.
No,
nothing. Not even how goofy looking Gilligan was.
Right.
Gillingham was.
Well, to you, he was a Gilligan.
It was a Gilligan.
So, it really did cement it for you, and that was the best thing you'd seen in a long time.
He bought her a house. He bought her a house, and surprised that he essentially got on his knee and said, "I have a house for you, and I want to make the rest of my life with you."
Because I am not marrying anyone else.
A woman who only anticipated just working until death.
Right.
Yeah.
In somebody else's house.
So that do it for you?
Drop the mic.
The whole episode really, from what we talked about in the beginning, so much is Rose is over talking to Diana, going, "Diana, my good friend, I haven't seen you in a while." And then over comes Mary going, "Hello, Diana, we haven't seen you in so long." Lord Grantham, "Yes, we haven't seen you since we seen you at Downton."
And Rachel leaves, and then it's like, what is good? And then, the look of Lord Grantham going, Diana says, "I wish he could come over." and speaking about Cinderby.
And Lord Grantham's like,
he goes,
Who? And Mary.
Now look on Mary's face. Yeah, it's like, Dad.
Seriously?
Got a clue.
It's almost the same expression.
Priceless.
Yeah,
priceless.
That was priceless. And even when he understood it, it took him, the extra 5 seconds to figure it out. Crikey.
Crikey.
Oh, God, that was precious. That was perfect.
Hilarious.
It was fantastic.
It was very good.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, and then it all comes clear. And the look. The acting was amazing. The way Lord Cinderby looked when he was gutted there and just completely humiliated and
and couldn't get it back together.
Yeah,
he didn't even try to get it back together.
And Rachel's like almost oblivious. Oh, okay.
Really, Daniel?
Yeah.
You know that's Lord Cinderby's name. Mm-hmm. What a coincidence!
And I'm going. She probably knows. I'm guessing that when she thinks about it, she is a smart one. But what is she going to do at that moment? It would have been ugly for everybody. So, but that she probably knows at some point. I'm guessing will come back. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
I hope.
If we spend any time with them, I'm guessing that will come out.
I hope.
But anyway, what I also liked was
this season, and this wasn't happening right, and this person was annoying. In the end, I still am like, I love you so much,
and I will come back next season. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know,
I'll wait another whole year.
I will.
Yeah. And I was floored. The train shots coming through the countryside, and even in the train. We visited Brancaster Castle. We'd never been there, so it's a whole new area, covered completely well. So many wonderful shots of that place and the countryside.
I loved the one where they had the castle in the background and the cars going across the little motorway.
Yeah.
All that green, and then the gray and the fog. When they're out hunting, and the dog. It was
so much of that, and even
impeccable.
When we weren't at Brancaster Castle, because you remember, I was pointing out every time you saw the Dowager and Isabel walking through a graveyard. And here we had them in the garden.
They were in gardens every time.
Gorgeous, too.
I bet Julian Fellows heard us talking about this.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
I'm sure that's
Absolutely.
What happened.
So,
the shot
ruins
with the
in the castle.
Thank
the
you.
ruins of the castle, and then they had the lunch there and stuff like that.
Because at one moment when we were walking through the ruins, I was like, come on, why are we...
in ruins.
We people would not see and then they ended up at the outdoor picnic area, so it made sense.
Oh, that's right.
That's why that's
And even when we came back for Christmas 1924, we were back at Downton, and I mean, just the shot of everything in the snow, and then you go in downstairs into the kitchen, you got the bacon wrapped turkey.
Bacon wrapped turkey. I'm in.
Yeah, everything looks so lush, and
their Christmas tree was even just like
Booby. I thought you would never ask.
we all thought that, but
Right.
we finally did. Because now, did anybody know when they were doing the storyline about the houses and all that? I mean, I'm assuming that most people knew that they were leading to that. That they, at some point, it was
and
gonna-
we hoped.
I honestly didn't expect it in this particular episode because they had everything else going on.
Yeah, I wasn't
thought
sure
they
we were going to get there that fast.
Yeah, but then when it happened, it was like, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening now.
Well, and it's reminiscent of, the connection that we kept hoping for with Anna and Bates.
Right.
Yes.
Remember,
Yeah.
when we, and it was so, that difficult scenario where you don't exactly know what your standing is in life or with this other person.
Yeah. But it's so fascinating that the whole thing, we got to learn about her backstory with her sister and her Kathy, Becky, her special needs and all the stuff, and that she has no money, and that's why she never would even think of the idea that they actually would get married, because who would want me at this point, because I can't bring anything to the marriage, that kind of stuff. And
But
so there was no
Mrs.
hint of
freaking
that.
Hughes. She can bring everything to a relationship. She is his support.
Yes.
In work, and so why not be that?
Right, but
as the future comes.
but again, from her perspective,
Of course.
she doesn't, I just thought,
touches
oh
on
my
how
God.
the women and the
Okay, so there's Courtney's three things. The beginning of the show, it's like, then with that, it's like, and then this is.
I don't have words. I apologize.
Upset
You
about
better bring him.
Charles Blake and not being enough and all this stuff, and he brings this guy in. People are gonna go, oh my God, yeah, he'll
Of course
use
you're gonna
that.
bring him back.
You better bring him back.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool not to.
Exactly. So, and I think that would be wonderful. I'd love to see them go toe to toe for a while.
Just quickly, did you guys see the Text Santa with George Clooney?
Oh, right.
Mini films.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very fun, right?
Yeah.
Very cute.
Cute, silly, exactly what we wanted from that.
Yes.
I just have to say, again, as much as we criticize this series, people tweeted me as it was airing in the UK. They made up for it with a Christmas special.
They sure
For
did.
me, they really did.
They did, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're back in love. We're back in love.
We love you, Downton Abbey. We love you, Julian Fellows.
All right.
We do.
It made me sad thinking that the next one is the last one.
And we've got like 9 months to
Yeah.
wait.
I didn't-
Wall.
I don't want to think about that part.
No.
But I
Me
will
neither.
wait.
All right.
We'll just keep watching reruns.
Any other last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Last thoughts. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
I want Rose to come back.
I do
Yeah, it
want
would be
Rose to
nice.
come
She did.
back.
Yeah, they did a really
great,
good job with her.
Can't wait for Cinderella to come
And
out.
if they're moving to New York, that'd be great after the
Yeah,
crash.
let's do it in New
let's-
York.
There you go.
Yes.
Let's go to New York.
Let's go
All
to
right.
New York for a little while.
Where can they find you?
At Twitter,
Stuart
Instagram,
Starlet.
Stuart Starlet. She knows about it. I was like, wait, at my house? What? Stuart Starlet, yes.
You
Tamara?
can find me at Tamara Berg on Twitter. My website is tamaracentral.com. The glue recipe is there.
I don't think the crash is definitely, because look, everybody knows what came out of it,
Yeah.
so it's not necessarily
But
a horrible thing.
they've sort of been working up to being able to deal with how that is
Right.
going to change their lives. So
Right.
maybe the whole point will end up being that they are in a position, and it's different, and it sucks in some ways and doesn't in others, but they're able to cope and they keep moving
Yeah,
forward.
we don't know. I mean, but I just think it's such a rich thing to have to deal
Yeah.
with.
Absolutely,
Yes,
it
so,
is. Absolutely, it is. It was so devastating, though, in America, and so many lives were changed incredibly dramatically by the Depression.
But I honestly, here's the thing, history-wise, I have no idea how it affected
Affected the
everybody else.
English, yeah.
I don't.
I don't know.
Well, it
That's
did.
true. Well, I just know
I know,
that it
I just
did
don't know
a
to what
lot,
degree.
but I don't know to what degree, like what their lives and
Exactly.
what
Well, and
happened. So
I
it'll be
don't.
interesting.
I don't think logistically they can go from was it 19. I don't remember the 1916 or whatever when 14 when the Downton Abbey began
12.
to
12.
Okay, to
30?
1930.
29.
That's going to be a hard jump
30 years.
logistically with your actors.
Oh, well, we've been
kill
talking about
off
how
the
they haven't
Lord,
aged at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, who knows?
How old is the
it's
Dowager
only
going
5
to
more
be
years.
in
The
19?
Dowager wouldn't
That's
be
true.
there,
It's only
which
5
is
more
why it would be
years.
sad.
It is only 5 more years, but and Maggie Smith is going to be on the show through until its
Okay,
finale.
cool. I appreciate that.
But I think that the going into did I say I wasn't going to refill my glass because
Yeah, you
it's
said
almost
that. Well,
empty?
you might have
we
to
got
do
a long
that.
way to go. You might
All right,
need to.
I do.
We've already talked to Mary. Let's get on to Edith because poor Edith, not so poor this episode.
Thank God.
We may be able to finally finally retire the hashtag poor Edith.
Yes, maybe.
Because this was a beautiful episode for her.
You realize it's just a setup.
She did wear a red dress.
Yes.
It was Christmas.
But
Oh, come on.
No? Okay.
It didn't matter. Like, she's usually in browns and oranges and like dark.
How's yours?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
I got her way before Courtney did.
that was very. All right, so
Okay, you can tell me.
we're
I
happy
can
with
and
this
I
change.
will.
Now, you guys don't you think that they're just setting it up so that we can have more Poor Edith next season?
Yes, because Gloria's face will show up and she'll be in love with somebody else or
yeah.
something, and it'll be a disaster.
Right, that's
But
predictions, but
It'll be
that's sort of where we're headed.
But
I
for
know, but
90 minutes, we could appreciate it.
Wasn't it great that we finally get like, geez, would you please do something different with her? Yeah.
Okay, so early on, she was like, Mary's like, come to Mummy, and Edith is like, come to me.
Yes. It's not obvious at all.
Oh, Marigold.
And Grantham is figuring out when's the best time to let the secret out.
Yeah,
Of
of course, like,
saying,
no,
it's
no,
not our
no,
secret to
no,
tell.
no.
Until he has a scare with, angina. And decides. And I thought that scene between them was very, very sweet and a
It was
long time
one of
coming.
my favorites. See this and see that I, welcome you as a son to this family. Really adds credibility to that relationship. It makes us, we've always loved Tom, but to see Lord Grantham love him makes it that much more impactful for all of us. And then, the idea that Tom's going to leave, we don't know for sure that he's going to.
Yeah.
Series 6.
Right,
but
they set it up that no, he's gone, but who knows? You never know.
Yeah, he'll be back.
maybe there will be a big contract in his future.
Yes. He'll be like, I tried it in Boston.
He'll be Hail the Conquering Hero.
Was he in the Imitation
He'll
Game
make
too?
a huge splash in Boston. It'll be Hail the Conquering Hero. He'll come back.
He'll come back with
back.
some shady girl worse
Except-
than the bunker. Or whatever her name was.
Dummy Bunting, as John called her.
Dummy Bunting.
Except what?
Affectionately. No. We'll get into that in predictions. All right, so that was a wonderful thing. And then, just the little things here and there, like, for instance, Daisy making goo-goo eyes at Andrew. It's like, what?
The new footmen?
We're going to start that going.
I'm sorry, we left something out of the
What's that?
Isabel and Violet moment
Go
where
ahead.
she says, she saved me from the abyss.
Oh, that, yes.
And Isabel says,
Every
and you've
time.
never strayed.
Yeah.
And
That's not what
Violet
I asked.
says, that's not, what did she say?
No, he said, I've never risked it all.
I've never risked everything. That's not what I asked. That's all you're going to get.
We are the Edwardians.
In a way, it sort of seems silly that Mary throws these barbs sometimes. But, let's be honest, the family dynamic continues.
I know,
And in
but-
certain situations, it becomes more important when there are high stakes. And this is a high stakes family.
I understand all those things. I don't disagree with all those things. What I'm saying is, as a viewer, it's tiresome.
I agree.
I think you need to move that along.
Yeah.
I get bored with it. 'cause
I
it sounds like the
laugh
same
out
thing.
loud every time, so I don't think I'm
Okay.
tired yet.
Well,
I find it amusing. I'm
all
like,
right.
you're such
Well,
a
there you go.
yeah.
There you go.
But
So
it doesn't show any growth.
Yeah.
That is true. So it's not like there was any evolution in their relationship. which
just
would be
talking
nice.
a little bit about Mary being snarky. When she was with Mr. Handsome, the new Matthew, the brown-haired Matthew.
Tolbert.
Tolbert. She's throwing back at him during the picnic.
Right.
And I thought, does she think that's charming?
Oh, yeah. When she's...
Does she?
I would probably say
Yeah, because I think she's playing hard to get.
Or is she just so used to, being the princess of everything? And I don't know. But she's a woman who, definitely speaks her mind whatever it is and however it serves her. And it does seem a little ridiculous sometimes, but...
All right.
But it's fun to watch.
But moving on to to the next part of Edith's storyline. So she gets that wonderful moment with Dad, and Marigold gets more embraced by the family, if not Mary. But she gets to meet Bertie Pullum.
Again, because she's only out on bail at this point.
Yes.
But then her accuser, her witness, is starting to get
Second thoughts.
Have second thoughts.
Decide that maybe it wasn't her. Exactly. And we don't care about that. But really, the only reason why I wanted to talk about it was how nobly Molesley stepped
that
up.
was
Yes.
sweet.
That was kind of good, right?
Yeah,
'Cause, we
gave him something else to do.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
he's kind of been the.
And he got to have his little relationship.
again. One of our wonderful Twitter followers made up
Their celebrity name.
Yeah, their celebrity name, which is Baxley.
Baxter Mosley Baxley.
Love it. Love it. I think that was Katie who said that.
That will work.
Yeah, Katie Bailey.
Better than Moulter or something like that.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Molesler.
Yeah.
Molester.
Yeah, that's not. That's
Baxley. So
having,
they go out and
I love this. They went to every pub. That
Every
they could, well,
single
not every
pub.
one of
They
them
didn't
because
have
they
to.
stopped
They
when they
stopped
got
at
to
like 60.
Yeah, but that was pretty good. Door to door to each pub that
show
they could get to
pictures
find the guy. And it was great. And they did explain it well. I mean, the guy remembered him because of course you would remember a guy with cane who you fought in a war with, et cetera, had conversations with. So
for once we believed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was believable.
Yeah, that's true. It was believable.
Okay, sorry that I had to say that. And then Lord Grantham says, you've done a fine thing.
Yes.
Fine. And
They're like, thank you, sir.
Jerry.
And how can we ever repay you, right?
Yeah.
I can't find it in my notes, but I remember that. So that was quite lovely. And then...
so raw and intimate and just a wonderful scene. And it's been so long in the coming, and that was terrific.
Yeah.
Also, the moment when
And again, broken by a drunk.
Grantham was
Broken up by a
drunk.
drunk.
Right,
But he was still watching.
So
and
when he said he was sort of, you don't know how long he was there.
No,
He could have seen the whole thing.
Right.
And he's like, are you sure you don't want to leave city?
He was like,
And Tom's response, which was, I love the way you love her.
Yeah. It's kill you, right?
No, I've only got like 5 tears on my face right now.
Good.
Sybil's death was I think way more gut wrenching than Matthew's death.
Agreed.
It was for me. Yeah.
And not to demean Matthew's death because it was important,
just the
but
way
it was just
And also we kind of
so unexpected and so
so too soon.
right
For such a. She was not what any of them were.
Right.
And she was the personification of kindness and lovingness and all that. And it's that tragedy of losing, someone young and someone so beautiful in so many ways. And, to have this tribute to her was incredibly touching. And that, I love the way you love her. I just thought sort of encapsulated the whole... And our relationship with Sybil.
It really is a testament to the writing and the acting because he just has to call that back, and we're right there. That is still so ingrained and indelible in our minds that
beds in there.
Yeah. So the whole point about it is that were to be the case, and she wasn't a part of the entire
season, and maybe
Daisy, because they've already putting her as she's making broth on her own. She's stepping up. She's not necessarily. She even talked about not wanting to necessarily continue her studies.
Yes.
Because what would be the point to her? But who knows? Maybe she would step into the greater role of being me.
Maybe be the precursor to Julia Child and write a cookbook.
Ooh. Okay.
Could happen. We're not going. In theory, we're not going to have Tom. We're not going to have Rose, possibly, or Atticus, because all of them are going to America.
New York, yes.
New York and Boston. So where is it going to go from there? I don't really know.
Because we were even postulating, we don't even know what time. We don't know how far we're going to jump in the future, because it would be interesting. I was saying, geez, we're 1924.
It's got to be after the crash.
That's what I'm saying. You got it, because the whole thing is how the downfall of this society, or the change of this society, I should say.
Which is why Tom is going to come back.
Exactly.
Because it's going to crash. It's not going to be great. It's going to be like, what's the point?
But then we'll
come back and try to help the house.
And how is that going to survive? Exactly. So that would be very, very interesting.
Tom is coming back.
5 years down the road and stuff like that. If we were to go that route, I think that would be a great, because we started with one calamity. If it was to be the end, it would be
a huge calamity.
Exactly.
And then the whole thing ends in World War II.
Yeah. So. That would be
do you end the end the same, right?
I love it.
I did, didn't you? We are BFFs.
But this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, because for so long they've had those people bicker at each other, meaning Violet and Isabel. Which that's been fun too. But it was nice to see that's what I was talking about between the sisters. Can't we move something into a different room? No,
they're still young.
Not for you.
They're still too young.
Yeah, no, they're not young. They're 35 for crying out loud. Get over it.
And they're young, and they're
They haven't had enough heartbreak,
enough life experience.
Now, that being said, next series, I'm sure the Dowager and Isabel are going to be at it again. But it's great to see them having each other and being supportive and being friends.
Well, because there was a little bit of challenge to that relationship as Isabel was considering marrying up, essentially.
Yeah, but that's good. She found a way through that. I mean,
yes, she did.
And I think I'm just saying, I thought that was a smart move to move that relationship on, because it's much more interesting when it's textured right, as opposed to the same thing every freaking time.
No, and to see them as allies, because in a certain way we root for each of them, and to see them as allies with knowing everything about each other, right? So I know some of your dirty laundry. I'm going to learn some more of it in a little bit.
And they still disagree. They don't agree with each other's position.
Oh, there's still some of this.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Going on.
But,
what did you say?
Yeah, it's much more layered, and I just think it's way more interesting to watch.
But that's because they're in a different place in life.
Yeah,
Loved it.
I don't care. I think the other ones are just ridiculous and stupid.
But wait,
let me know. Hello.
But so the satisfying moment between Bates and Anna at the end there didn't work?
Really satisfying.
For you?
It was kind of just like...
Well, isn't that nice? Let's move on. What else is happening?
Keep doing the same
I love
crap.
that Courtney opens this podcast by saying that when she watched it, she was like, but this storyline, she's like, so that pretty much says it all from me.
That says it all.
Okay, there you go. All right, so
I think it was a misstep.
I've said from the beginning it was a misstep not to show them overcoming everything instead of the way, but. That's what he did. That's what he chose to do. So let's move on to Spratt and Dinker.
Spratt and Dinker. Hello.
Because I was surprised to see that they actually kept the storyline going.
I thought it was adorable.
But they did, and I was like, all right, okay, great. So we got to see more of Spratt being highly indignant and obnoxious, and Dinker being self-righteous in a sense. It's like, I could do it.
I can make a broth, for God's sake.
It's not that hard.
Don't be ridiculous.
It's all surrounding a broth. It's like,
do you take up the challenge of the wooden spoon?
Yeah. Oh my God!
I do take up that challenge.
And then one of my favorite moments in the whole episode, and I had a lot of them, was the first time we see that fight continuing, and Violet she's having Isabel over for tea, and then we realize that they're going to continue the fight, and the scene ends, and the last thing you see is Violet just throwing up her arms, going, "Oh my God!"
Right, she literally throws up her hands.